Now, this is an interesting chart, and this really gets at the fundamental reason why an evolutionary process, and both biology and technology are evolutionary processes, accelerate. They work through indirection. They create a capability, and then it uses that capability to bring on the next stage. So the first step in biological evolution, the evolution of DNA, actually it was RNA came first, took billions of years. But then evolution used that information processing backbone to bring on the next stage. So the Cambrian explosion, when all the body plans of the animals were evolved, took only 10 million years. It was 200 times faster. And then evolution used those body plans to evolve higher cognitive functions. And biological evolution kept accelerating. It's an inherent nature of an evolutionary process. Evolution of our species took hundreds of thousands of years. And then working through indirection, evolution used essentially the technology creating species to bring on the next stage, which were the first steps in technological evolution. The first step took tens of thousands of years. Stone tools, fire, the wheel, kept accelerating. We always used then the latest generation of technology to create the next generation. Printing press took a century to be adopted. The first computers were designed pen on paper. Now we use computers. And we've had a continual acceleration of this process. A key revolution is that we're understanding our own biology in these information terms. We're understanding the software programs that make our body run. These were evolved in very different times. We'd like to actually change those programs. One little software program called the fat insulin receptor gene basically says, hold on to every calorie because the next hunting season may not work out so well. That was in the interest of the species tens of thousands of years ago. We'd like to actually turn that program off. They tried that in animals, and these mice ate ravenously and remained slim and got the health benefits of being slim. They didn't get diabetes. They didn't get heart disease. They lived 20% longer. They got the health benefits of caloric restriction without the restriction. 4 or 5 pharmaceutical companies have noticed this, felt that would be a interesting drug for the human market. And that's just one of the 30,000 genes that affect our biochemistry. We are learning to actually manipulate and change these software programs through the biotechnology revolution. For example, we can inhibit genes now with RNA interference. There are exciting new forms of gene therapy that overcome the problem of placing the genetic material in the right place on the chromosome. There's actually, for the first time now, something going to human trials that actually cures pulmonary hypertension, a fatal disease, using gene therapy. So we'll have not just designer babies, but designer baby boomers. And this technology is also accelerating. It cost $10 per base pair in 1990. It's down to a penny in 2000. It's now under a tenth of a cent. The amount of genetic data, basically this shows that smooth exponential growth, doubled every year, enabling the Genome Project to be completed. These are some designs from Eric Drexler's book, which we're now showing are feasible with supercomputing simulations. Where actually there are scientists building molecule-scale robots. One has one that actually walks with a surprisingly human-like gait that's built out of molecules. There are little machines doing things in experimental basis. The most exciting opportunity is actually to go inside the human body and perform therapeutic and diagnostic functions. And this is less futuristic than it may sound. These things have already been done in animals. There's one nano-engineered device that cures type 1 diabetes. It's blood cell size. They put tens of thousands of these in the blood cell. They tried this in rats. Lets insulin out in a controlled fashion and actually cures type 1 diabetes. What you're watching is a design of a robotic red blood cell. And it does bring up the issue that our biology is actually very suboptimal, even though it's remarkable in its intricacy. Once we understand its principles of operation and the pace with which we're reverse engineering biology is accelerating, we can actually design these things to be thousands of times more capable. An analysis of this respirosite designed by Rob Freitas indicates if you replace 10% of your red blood cells with these robotic versions, you could do an Olympic sprint for 15 minutes without taking a breath. You could sit at the bottom of your pool for 4 hours. So, honey, I'm in the pool will take on a whole new meaning. It'll be interesting to see what we do in our Olympic trials. Presumably we'll ban them, but then we'll have the specter of teenagers in their high school gyms routinely outperforming the Olympic athletes.
I've talked about some of these projects before, about the human genome and what that might mean, and discovering new sets of genes. We're actually starting at a new point. We've been digitizing biology, and now we're trying to go from that digital code into a new phase of biology with designing and synthesizing life. So we've always been trying to ask big questions. What is life is something that I think many biologists have been trying to understand at various levels. We've tried various approaches, paring it down to minimal components. We've been digitizing it now for almost 20 years when we sequenced the human genome. It was going from the analog world of biology into the digital world of the computer. Now we're trying to ask, can we regenerate life, or can we create new life out of this digital universe? So in a short period of time, we think that we might be able to increase what the basic question is of what is life. We're truly, have modest goals of replacing the whole petrochemical industry. If you can't do that at TED, where can you? Become a major source of energy. But also, we're now working on using these same tools to come up with instant sets of vaccines. You've seen this year with flu, we're always a year behind and $1 short when it comes to the right vaccine. I think that can be changed by building combinatorial vaccines in advance. Here's what the future may begin to look like with changing now the evolutionary tree, speeding up evolution with synthetic bacteria, archaea, and eventually eukaryotes. We're a ways away from improving people. Our goal is just to make sure that we have a chance to survive long enough to maybe do that. Thank you very much.